Hello there, students. This is Mr. Vana with another video coming to you from my living room to yours. Today we're going to take a look at an application for the Pythagorean Theorem. In a previous video, we learned what the Pythagorean Theorem was and how to find the missing side of a right triangle. Now we're going to take a look at an application that you're going to see most likely on your GED test or many other tests as well. And they're going to, basically our objective is that we're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem to find the distance between 2 points on the coordinate grid. Alright, so for example, they might ask you a question like, find the distance between the points 1, 2, and 7, 10. Alright, so these are each ordered pairs. In other words, they give an x coordinate and a y coordinate. All right, that's why it's called an ordered pair, because they're in alphabetical order, X, Y, and there's two of them, a pair. So they're ordered pairs. All right, so I just drew a little graph here. The grid is not exact, so it's going to be a little bit off, but I think you get the picture. So you can see that I plotted both of these ordered pairs so that we could see it visually. All right, so 1, 2. I start at the origin, which is right here, and the x-coordinate is 1, the y-coordinate is 2, so I just go up 2. So there's my first point. On my second point is 7, 10, so I go over 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I go up 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and there's my second point. And the question is, what is the distance between those 2 points? Well, it would be nice if we could just count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we can't do that because this line is really at a diagonal. It's not straight up or it's not straight across. So we can't just simply count it on the coordinate grid. We need to know how to use the Pythagorean Theorem to find this length. All right? And really what we're going to be doing is developing the distance formula in order to find the length of a line. But we're going to do it using Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, so looking at this line right here, I'm going to draw an imaginary triangle. All right? So it's got a x component and it's got a y component. All right? So I want you to notice, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and label these points. This is 1, 2. And this is 7, 10. Okay? So, I want you to notice that this is a right triangle, and what is the base length of this triangle? Well, we could just simply count, right? We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have a length, or a base, of 6. Our height of our triangle is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have a base of 6 and a height of 8. And since this is a right triangle, we could find the hypotenuse using the Pythagorean Theorem. But here's what I'm going to do. Instead of C, I'm going to replace that C with a different letter. I'm going to replace it with D. The reason I do that is because D stands for distance. All right? So we're going to derive the distance formula. Okay. So we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay? And we know that a, in this case, is 8, and we know that b is 6. Now, I want to show you how we could get the 6 and how we can get the 8. All right, if you'll notice, anytime I want to measure the distance between 2 points, all I need to do is subtract the 2 points. For example, if I'm 6 feet tall and you're 5 feet tall, what's the difference in our heights? It's 1 foot. Well, we do that simply by subtracting your height from my height. Okay, we can do the same thing here. Okay, so let's first look at the height. Well, what is the height of this point? The height of this point is 10. Okay, what's the height of this point? 2. All right? So what's 10 minus 2? 8. So I could find A by simply subtracting the 2 y coordinates. So let's go ahead and do that. So A is going to be y2 minus y1. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put that in parentheses just because it's all together. A is y2 minus y1. It's just the 2 y coordinates subtracted. All right, awesome. Plus B. Okay, well, what's B? B is my base length. Well, how do I find the distance between 2 points? I just subtract the 2 coordinates of each point. Okay, so the coordinates here, the coordinate there is what, 7? All right, the coordinate there is 7. The coordinate here is 1. The x coordinate here is 1. So the x coordinate for this point is 7. The x coordinate for this point is 1. 7 minus 1 gives me 6. So you see how subtracting 2 points gives me the distance between 2 points. All right, so let's go ahead and draw that. So B is going to be simply x2 minus x1. Right? And that's going to be equal to, now normally it'd be c squared, right? But we're calling it d, okay, for distance. Right? You can name these variables anything you want. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know, usually we like to choose variables that are representative of the object that they describe. So since we're talking about distance, we'll go ahead and let it be D instead of C. All right? So really that's just the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so now you need to solve for D, right? Because that's what we want. We want the distance. Well, how do we undo that square? Do you remember? You got it. We take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of D squared, and that's just going to leave me with D, right? But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Got to take the square root of that entire left side. Okay, so now square root of D squared, I'll start there, is just D. So let's do this in black. So I'm going to move this right side, I'm going to move it to the left side. All right? So D equals what? Well, D equals all of this. D equals the square root of y2 minus y1. Whoa, I forgot something. Did you see what I forgot? This is a squared, correct? This is A. I need a square right there. And this is B squared. All right, this is B. This has to be squared as well. Ah, I missed that. Okay, so this is D equals the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1, and that's also squared. Okay? This, my friends, is called the distance formula. Put that in green. This is the distance formula. Using this formula, I can find the the distance between any 2 points on the coordinate grid. Okay? All right, and so what it really is just using the idea of Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can find the distance of the distance between these 2 points, the distance of the length of that line. Okay, so where are we going to do that? Let's do it right in here. So D equals the square root of y2. Now, what do I mean by y2? This is my second coordinate. This is my first coordinate. This is my second coordinate. It doesn't really matter what you call first and second coordinate. Just choose one and then be consistent. If this is going to be your first coordinate, always make it your first coordinate. All right? Don't try to intermix them and switch them up. I just like to go left to right. So this is my first. That's my second point. All right? So D equals, okay, y2. Well, what's y2? Well, which one's my second y coordinate? It's this one, right? So it's going to be 10 minus my first y coordinate, which is 2. Don't forget to square that. Now I got to add. Okay, now I need to add what? My x2. What's x2? Well, there's my x1 and there's my x2. So it's going to be 7 minus x1 is 1 squared, and that's it. So you'll notice that here I get 10 minus 2 was just 8, right? Which is right here. And 7 minus 1 was 6. All right, so essentially I'm just squaring the legs of both legs of my triangle. Okay. Now it's just a matter of just doing some arithmetic. So 10 minus 2, we know, is 8. And 7 minus 1 is 6. Okay. Sorry, I don't have a very big whiteboard. And that's D. Okay. Now 8 squared is, what's 8 times 8? 64. You got it. Plus 6 times 6, or 6 times 6 is 36, and that's D. Okay, now I just need to do this addition. 64 plus 36. Well, 60 plus 30 is 90, and 4 plus 6 is 10. So 90 plus 10 is 100. So I get D equals the square root of 100. And what is the square root of 100? What number squared is 100? Well, 10 times 10 is 100. So I know that the square root of 100 is 10. And we know, actually it's plus or minus 10, but when you're dealing with distances, you don't have any minuses. All right, so that's 10. 10 what? Well, I didn't give you any units, right? So it's just 10 units or 10 squares or whatever. D equals 10. Now, I don't have the benefit of measuring this and proving the point because I didn't draw this to scale. But we already did that in the last video that proved that the Pythagorean Theorem does work. So you can bank on it, that distance is 10. Now remember, one last closing thing. Before you select an answer, always think, is this reasonable? Okay? Well, let's see. We know that the hypotenuse is the longest side of any triangle. So we know that it has to be greater than 8. 10 is greater than 8. So that, if we got like 20, that would be too big, right? So it's got to be greater than 8, probably less than 12. So we know that that looks very reasonable, so I can be confident that that is a correct answer. Okay, so that's how you develop the distance formula. That's how you use the distance formula to find the distance between 2 points. I hope this was helpful to you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more videos that you'll get notified of. Until then, may God richly bless you.